Rajesh is going to give us a perspective in terms of how we can better use digital channels in today's scenario. So, Rajesh, let me start by a question, and you can take it on from there. So, given COVID-19 and the situation that we have, I mean, how should the bank? Can you?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, got it.
You got, okay.
All right,
how should the banks be looking at the digital channels, and what measures they should be taking to improve the adoption of digital channels, especially from the non-millennials, the people who are relatively difficult to shift?
Okay.
What is your view?
Thank you, Murtaza.
Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you for being getting me onto the panel here. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
And Murtaza, Raheel have kind of given a perspective in terms of Murtaza specifically touched how deeply it has impacted, has a lot of ramifications both socially and economically. So we see most of countries have across the globe have taken kind of extreme measures in terms of how to manage this contagion that is in front of us. Since my discussions and conversation is all going to be around digital, how it's going to impact the digital channels banks are going to impact doing business digitally. I thought I'll probably start with one classic example, right? In terms of how digital technology has been used to create social impact in this current COVID scenario, which even World Bank applauded. This is the Arogya Setu app by the government of India, which was launched in the last week. I'm not sure if you all heard about it. I think it's interesting. You should all go and read about it. So one of the most important problem with the COVID was causing is contact tracing, right? And the government came up with a brilliant, with some of the technocrats around here, came up with a brilliant app which called Arogya Setu, and that is now expecting all citizens to download this app so that it enables, if one person who's got a COVID, it enables you to trace all the people who were around him in the recent past, because that's one of the biggest challenge that the government was facing in terms of who is a COVID patient and who all has it. Once you identify a patient, that problem doesn't end there. You need to also find out who all has he been around with so that it doesn't spread further. I think this was one of the fantastic example in terms of how digital technologies have been used in the current COVID context. So just wanted to start with that, and coming to kind of banks and banking. So before kind of getting into bank, just a quick introduction to Clayfin. We've been in business for more than a decade now, work across predominantly 3 regions, Middle East, Africa, so where we kind of work with some of the leading banks, Saab, ANB, Alawal. So these are some of the large banks that we work with. We work with a number of banks in Bahrain, Al Salam, and in Dubai, and BBK, and so on. And similarly in India, we kind of got a significant presence. We have our channel offering extends both to the retail as well as for the corporate customers. And so if you all are familiar with the Indian banking landscape, close to about 9 or 10 banks were given fresh licenses. And so we work with 5 of them, both on the corporate and on the retail side. So as an organization, what we do is we provide digital channels to banks. And along with that, we have some surround solutions which sit on other digital banking offerings as well. And some of these solutions are becoming very relevant now. And I will touch upon as I kind of continue my conversation. One is the personal finance management, the PFM, in terms of how do you enable people to manage their finances during these times. So it's kind of going to become very relevant now. And the other is onboarding, which my colleague Raheel touched upon. So I'll probably leave the onboarding part. So with that introduction to Clayfin, I will kind of quickly, so Murtaza talked a lot in terms of the trouble and the problems that the banks are going through. But banks have a dual responsibility here, especially since most of the government schemes and schemes that the central banks are launching are all financial related, and they're all going to be directed through banks. So the banks have a responsibility of not only taking care of themselves, but in making sure that all of these benefits reach the customers, right? So they have a bigger role to play, and I see this is a very interesting times for banks to kind of create more trust, right? So today, banks and telcos are the 2 institutions that banks are reaching out in COVID times. One is for talking and reaching out to your near and dear ones, and the other is to know your financial health. So that being the case, so the banks are kind of will continue to play a larger role as we kind of see this COVID problem coming along, right? And so I'll just take a few examples in terms of where are the kind of challenges that the banks see in terms of kind of playing down the digital path, right? So one thing, as my colleague Raheel, fellow panelist Raheel touched upon, right? So what COVID has done is that there's no solution today, right? So the only solution which everybody seems to be telling is social distancing, right? What does social distancing bring to as far as banks are concerned? You can't visit branches. Your contact centers are very limited. So the only options for customers or banks to reach out to each other is through digital channels, right? So digital channels become kind of a sole means of communication between the banks and their customers. And in these time of crisis, that's probably also banks to reach out to their customers. It's probably the most effective way for them to reach out to the customer. So the positive side to this is almost all financial institutions in some form or the other have been kind of going through some digital transformation in terms of that they are ready to in some form to kind of make digital as one of the key options for customers to reach today. That's because there are a lot of benefits. So some of my colleagues earlier talked about in terms of saving costs, in terms of giving the experience that some of the people have got used to by through Facebook and Amazon. The same experience banks are today trying to provide or have invested over the last 24 months. And so this is an opportunity to kind of utilize that and go a step forward in terms of digitally reaching their customers. And one key aspect I would like to touch upon here is, right, so whenever this digital transformation was happening, so there are two elements. So one was the digital savvy customer, and then there was the non-digital savvy side to it, right? So how do you reach to the non-digital savvy? Because they are the ones who you are not able to reach today. They were the ones who go to the branch. So I think there are about 3 or 4 pieces that I would like to put together. Education and communication, right? So is the single most focus, is because it's a great opportunity. So if you look at from a country to country, so that the adoptions would probably be closer to 30 to 40% at best. Nowhere would have gone greater than that, right? So the best case scenarios we are seeing is 15 to 20%, gradually moving over time to 30% with all the push. But now here is an opportunity where every customer is coming back and wanting to talk to the bank, but he doesn't know how to do it because due to past experiences, right? It is just that the user journeys were difficult, or he was worried whether it is secure enough or not. So these are the two main communications that the bank need to be immediately doing in terms of reaching out to their customers, either through web, email, and one thing which kind of beats us all, we've been in banking, right? So the senior citizens and probably the non-so digital savvy people are all very comfortable with WhatsApp, right? Which is again a digital medium, but not so comfortable downloading a mobile app and doing a transaction. So here we see the leading banks such as ICICI, HDFC, a lot adopting to WhatsApp as a means of kind of doing banking. So that's an important channel. If not transaction, at least banks could start communicating, putting across training programs, putting across in terms of, or simple user journeys, at least to understand their balances. How do they go about doing things? So I would kind of lay maximum stress in terms of how do you educate and communicate to customers during this COVID time, especially when they are down, right? And Murtuza talked about it in terms of everybody is impacted financially, whether it's at the at the top end or at the bottom end of the chain, right? Somebody has lost his net worth, somebody doesn't have food on the table. So there are government benefits that needs to be passed on to the people who are at the bottom end. So all of these can be addressed digitally. I believe the platforms are ready. So the banks need to communicate to their customers in terms of how to use these platforms and move the needle from about its 20 to 30% to probably double it, about 60 to 70%, right? So that's one of the key things that I would see that this COVID bringing. Now, Murtuza, you talked about a lot of schemes that the central government are bringing, right? Now, all of these have to be rolled onto the digital platform, right? So whether simple things, right? So I was speaking to the customer over the last week in terms of how they are coping up with. They're having a double whammy, right? One is the IT infrastructure is lean, they need to work with limited personnel, but on the other side, the traffic has gone up significantly, right? The existing customers are doing a lot more on their channels and new customers are wanting to come on board, right? So they need to pick and choose in terms of what is the most low-hanging fruit that they need to be rolling out now, because they are also thin. They can't be rolling out everything that they want to be doing. Along with support like partners, solution partners, they need to jointly identify, okay, these are the 5 things which will be most effective, right? On which we need to be reaching out. So those are prioritization of projects, given that there's going to be a lot happening digitally, is the key thing that between IT business and the solution partners need to be doing.
Okay.
And the last thing I would probably kind of summarize and close is on the some of the new solutions, right? So PFM is probably one very classic solution which kind of initially started for a different reason, in terms of how do you make goal-based savings, what are your income, how do you manage your expenses, how do you manage your budget. But that we see is going to be very effective. Right now, there are salary cuts happening. Some of them are not even sure in terms of how much balances they have for the next 3 months. So banks can come up with models. I mean, in terms of, since as my colleague talked about, they have a lot of data available, right? In terms of if your monthly budget is $1,000, $500, what is the typical spend that you need to allocate? What are the essentials that you need to be spending on? And how much do you need to save for a rainy day? So at least these are basic tools which the banks today have, or there are a lot of solution providers which can provide to the bank. Clayton is one such who we are working with a lot of banks in providing PFM solutions. And I think that those are some of the things that's going to play a big part in terms of how we shape up, right? So there's an opportunity for solution providers and banks to play a big role in these COVID times in terms of lifting up the economy, right? So one is on the banks, the central governments and all are doing in terms of doling out money, in terms of how do we jointly work in terms of making that it reaches the right person. And the digital systems also make it foolproof, right? In countries like India, which was cash-based economy, it was not proof, right? So there was a lot of pilferage, a lot of leakage happening. So we can stop all of this and move to the digital platform, which is very effective and also makes it that the right people get the money, right? So now you have the national IDs linked to the digital platform linked to the accounts, so that the money is in the safe hands.
Yes.
So with that, I close my, if there are any other questions.
Thanks, Gopal. And I do have one question for Rajesh, you and Rahil. One of the challenges that banks also will have right now is in long implementation cycles, even if I was to adopt a digital solution, you have to offer. One of the challenges that I as a bank may have is in the time for it to actually be rolled out and the time to market and eventually get the benefit of it. How would you like to address it, and what would be differently done, you know, in the current context and what you have always done? Maybe Rajesh can go first and then Rahil.
I'll kind of separate this into two parts, right? So currently also as we speak, in fact, going back to your first question, it's in kind of some way related. I mean, in terms of existing infrastructures getting upgraded, so they can be shorter term cycles, and even picking up some of these projects are driven by country to country. I mean, based on the SOPs that each country is offering. So let's say when I was speaking to some of the Saudi customers, they were in the contactless phase, and SAMA had a lot of limitations in terms of how much you can approve. So they've increased that from 200 to 300 riyals, and the debit card expiries. So that if the debit card expires, they're kind of relaxing that. I mean, so some of these changes probably can be done quickly and deployed. Now, coming back to the other question that you said in terms of these projects are usually taking time, right? So now there are two things that the banks need to be doing. First thing is something they need quick fix, right? So something that can be out of the box. So one thing where normally takes time in digital implementation is in terms of the UI and UX, because every bank is trying to differentiate, and because that's the touch point for the customer. So at this point, if facilitating the transaction is more important than UI UX, you have a ready out of the box solution that can be deployed very quickly. So that's what we are doing for some of the small finance banks in the country. So we are rolling out these digital for SME segments in about 3 months, right? 12 to 14 weeks is the time that we provide. Out of the box, you don't do too much of changes on the UI UX. So we are able to roll out this solution in about 12 to 14 weeks. A PFM solution, we just can be done in about 8 weeks. Onboarding, again, quickly. So there are some short-term solutions, right? So it depends. So it needs to be kind of taken on case to case. Bank has something existing ready to cater, fine. If they don't have, but they need something, so they go start off with something, and then so digital is always going to be an ongoing journey. So they take those, making these changes, nice to have things, improving the UI UX, kind of get to better branding, better user experiences. So that can be done later on. Right now, you get a solution and reach your customers, right? So that's the immediate need.
12 weeks is very interesting. I think that's many of the attendees here must be music to their ears that you just made that